we are joined today by Stefan. How's it going?
How's it going, boys? So no, I think the people in Northern Ireland are incredible, mate. I don't want to be bad PR for Jesus. Do you know what I mean? Like,
that's so true.
Like, this guy deserves the best marketing team ever.
Yeah. Would you ever go away? Like, would you ever leave Northern Ireland for?
Yeah, I think I would. I love the idea.
Away.
I love the idea of going to Dubai, Middle East.
Yeah.
We're in Port Sunday season.
We're in peak season. Like, the sun's out.
Sun's out.
Brown boots, jeans, shirt, super dry.
Yeah.
Gel in the hair. Let's go.
One. So that was actually my girlfriend's mum's friends.
Right.
And
How's it going, people? Welcome back to another episode of the Here's the Crack podcast. For those listening or watching, you may notice we're Shayless. Shay's not with us today. He is away doing something else. So the show must go on. He will be back. He will be back because people will be like, "Oh, did you get rid of him?" No, we didn't. We need him for the looks.
Yeah.
He'll be back.
That's what he'll
I'm glad I didn't get a chance to meet him.
We are joined today by Stefan. How's it going?
How's it going, boys? Going good. Thanks for asking me to come
no
on.
bother.
Really
No
appreciate it.
Now, people, you'll hear the voice, or maybe you'll know from TikTok or whatever. You have your own podcast. Nice to meet you, podcast.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you, boys.
Nice to meet you. Thought the concept of it's pretty cool. Like
yeah, really simple, isn't it? I wrote a devotion for my church a couple of years ago now. Used to go to church a good bit, and I had ended my devotion with, "You can bring heaven down to wherever you are right now, and get people to walk away from you and say, 'Nice to meet you.'" And I read it one day in my old job. Actually, my friend was texting me, and he was fried out. He was in an office job, and was like, "I hate this.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Mate, what are we on this earth to do?" Quite a deep question, like whenever you're sitting at work to answer. And I was working from home, and I was been flicking through my keepsake box that morning, and my devotion from church was in it, and I had like basically screenshotted it and sent it to him. And I was like, "Mate, this is literally why we're here. Like, this is why we're on planet Earth. Like, to meet people, talk to people, and to leave a good impression on people, so people walk away saying, 'Nice to meet you.'" And I thought, I need to do a podcast called that, and that's how it came about.
It's such a good name, man.
Thank you, because I actually didn't think it was. Whenever I first had done like the logo and all for it, I was like, maybe it's too simple, maybe it's not good.
Yeah.
But I was like, nah. It started to click on a bit more. I think only recently I've actually started to enjoy the name.
I think especially when you're getting like guests on, it's such a like easy.
Because that's what you do, innit? Like if you meet someone, like, anytime you said guests on here, you're saying "Nice to meet you." Every single time.
Yeah.
Wow.
And even translates across to listeners as well. Say if you do a podcast where it's just you and like your mates, like you may not have a guest on or like exploring someone's background, but at the same time, new listeners.
Exactly. And here, shout out to you guys. What, episode 124?
120. Yeah, this will be.
You're taking Ross's job.
I'm gonna get fired. That's big.
Like,
I think it's
you guys have grew an incredible platform here, so like kudos to you and Shay.
Oh, cheers,
because I'd seen you whenever I first started actually, and I'd seen a clip, and I remember you were at about 30k on TikTok whenever I first started. I remember seeing that, and you were invited to the Pride and Pinion Boys Christmas party, and I remember seeing that at the time. I was like, "Isn't that mad? These boys are like making moves." Like, I was like, if these boys can do a podcast, I can do a podcast.
That's
like,
cool.
so
that was a mad thing, because like we got Nico on that time, and like that was probably like with such a good run of guests, like with all these big guests on, and we had him on, and like, you know, Nico, like you're like, he's fucking massive.
Yeah.
But you only hear him, like he was like, we done the podcast and he's like, "Oh yeah, boys, we're having this birthday party for Pride and Pinion, you know, you come, definitely come." But he's pure selling us to us. He's like KSA's gonna be there, all the side men and all, because he's in with like Cal Freezy and like Callux and all, like all the big YouTubers, and the three of us were like, "Boys, this is gonna be sick. We could like try and get these guys on the podcast." We were like buzzing, but like it was still a good night, and there was like all the big like Northern Ireland sort of influencers and stuff were there. And then
we did get
India Sasha. We were chatting to her.
Yeah.
And
that was a weird one. I had a few drinks with me, and we were like looked across and seen India Sasha, and we'd messaged her, and we had a girl on doing like a bit of like producing for us, Leisha, and she really liked her, and through no fault of India's, like I think it's just like, you know yourself, like if someone sends you a message and you're so busy it like gets into the request, and like there comes a stage where you're just like looking through something, you're like, "Oh shit, I must check the requests." So she hadn't seen it. I just like walked across and I was like, you come on our podcast. And she was like, what? And I was like, she was like, oh yeah,
She's
you
like,
do
who are
that.
you?
You do that. I was like, yeah, I was like, we sent you a message. She was like, I'm so sorry, I haven't read it. And I was like, it's no bother. And then like 2 weeks later,
Fucking creep, leave me alone.
yeah.
No, shout out to you because here it takes a lot of work and commitment. Like I don't think people realise 120 odd episodes. Like a lot of shit happens in day-to-day life. Like some episodes don't go as well as you planned. Location being an issue. So you guys are killing the game. So.
Yeah.
Wow, cheers, man. You don't hear that a lot. But like, back to you. Like, wait, are you doing the content full time now then, or what's the crack?
Pretty much do a wee bit of part time work for a guy I know, like just marketing and stuff. But for the most part, yeah, all my time, most of my income comes from just doing what you've probably seen me do, like public interviews and content on TikTok and Instagram.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy because this time last year I was doing fuck all.
Yeah.
And when?
Am I
Like,
allowed to swear in this podcast?
yeah, and when did you
nervous
take? When did you take the notion to start it? Like you're touching there, you're on a job, like, but like,
Yeah.
when was it like I'm gonna go for this here?
Yeah, so this time last year, early March 2022, and I actually had watched Gary V on New Year's Day 2022. Don't know what he's thinking about Gary V or not.
I was obsessed with Gary V when we started the podcast because I remember like when we were putting TikTok clips out, like we were
post 5 a day every day.
I was proper like devoted. Like I was like, he is the man.
That was me, and I had watched some. He said basically, 2022 is the last year that you can put anything online. Like if you don't have a personal brand or an online presence in 2022 going forward, like you're going to be left behind. So I sort of shit myself. I was like, right, I'm doing nothing in my life and I have no online presence. I'm not doing anything. What can I do? I thought, right, I'm really good at speaking to people because I had a job in Starbucks before that, which I absolutely loved, by the way. Best job ever.
Before we started,
have I served you in Starbucks
before we
before?
started this podcast, I swear,
Holy shit!
I was actually like, I know, like obviously we're from the same place. We're from Ballymena. It's a pretty small place,
and we've never met.
We've never met,
It's
but
first
like
time.
at the same, and it's probably been too long since we've actually like had you on the
It has been
podcast
too
or
long.
whatever, or linked up or whatever. But like, I was sitting there and you were talking about something, and I just remember going, I am 100% sure I've seen you in Starbucks.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to ask if you're still working there or whatever. Like, but yeah.
No, I left there 2 or 3 years ago now.
Yeah.
But honestly, mate, best job ever. Absolutely loved it. Just see that interaction with people.
Yeah.
Just making people a coffee. Hey girl, what's your name? How you doing? Got plenty of numbers back then. Met a girlfriend there as well.
Nice.
He had chess game.
So yeah, that's where I worked originally, and I thought that's the only thing I'm good at. Like the sales job I was in, I was decent at sales because I was just chatting to people again, but that corporate life just wasn't for me. Like, see, being told by a boss where to sit, this is when your lunch break is. Just didn't like that idea. Just didn't like the concept of being like stuck in like a job or a system or whatever way you want to word it. And I thought, right, I need to do something. So I just thought, all right, fuck it, we'll make a TikTok. I'll just interview people. Because I used to watch a guy on YouTube a couple of years ago before I started, and he just done public interviews on his holidays. Like, I think he went to like the strips in Spain, just did night out videos. And I thought, right, they're really funny. He was doing really well for himself. I thought, right, I could probably replicate that over here. Because I don't think I've seen anyone over here do that.
No.
Like, there's no one really doing. I've seen the odd person do maybe like the odd public street interview.
Yeah.
But I hadn't seen anyone go full ham roll at it. And that's all they wanted to do. And I thought, right, I bound to be good at that. Like, so I thought, I'll just buy my mics and buy a new iPhone because I had a shitty iPhone 10. Put it all on the credit card because I couldn't afford it at the time. Stuck on a job and just had like no money and just didn't know what to do in my life. And I thought, right, if I throw it on a credit card, at least I can pay it back over time.
Yeah.
And I'm not like really stuck then money wise. But it could still not work. Like, ideally you wanna start something with like low investment, so that if it doesn't work, you know, it's not like a big loss. So I actually wanted to start a podcast first, believe it or not. I actually wanted the podcast first and then do the public interviews on the side as like side content, and it ended up being the other way around, where like my main source of content and income would come from just like the public stuff, whereas the podcast just sort of, it's like the side thing now. But yeah, I just felt like the podcast wasn't a good route to go down first because I hadn't got an online presence. Nobody knew who I was, so no one would probably care. Like, who's going to listen to Nice to Meet You podcast by Stefan, who no one knows? Yeah. So I thought, right, we'll do the street interviews, at least with the TikTok and the organic reach that TikTok, sometimes Instagram, LinkedIn and all can bring. Thought, right, I'll organically meet people and reach people just doing the street interviews. And then that's whenever I started, and yeah, it worked out quite well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff you do is
Some of it's
crazy.
pretty mad, like, to be fair.
What are, like,
get you in some good trouble.
What is, like, have you had any sort of, like, funny stories happen? Like, because, like, obviously you go out and nights out and, like, ask people questions as well. Has it ever went wrong or sort of been a bit?
Oh, like, yeah, mate. When it goes wrong, it goes badly wrong.
Because this is me and the boys that actually chatted about this. Because I remember when you sort of first came on the scene, like, we were chatting and you're like, fuck, his stuff's really good, and we were chatting about it and we're like, I couldn't go out because, like, we were thinking in our head. Could you remember? We were like talking.
He's gonna interview me. Shit.
No, but like we were talking about it and we were like, could you imagine going on a night out and you just get the wrong guy and you're like asking him a question and he's like, what the fuck? Do you know what I mean, Nola?
Yeah, no, and I actually never thought about it like that because just the way I am as a person, I always just assume the best. Like, I assume straight away you like me.
Yeah.
And I assume straight away we're going to get on with the best mates. That's just who I am. That's the way I've always been in Starbucks, and that's why I do what I do. But I went up to a guy. Two girls in Benedict's was standing, and I thought, right, they're up for a question, like, so I thought, right, fuck it, I'll go over to them and ask them a question. And I didn't know who they were with, and I just thought, right, fuck it, ask them. So I was like, they're like, what's your question tonight? I was like, oh, I'll surprise you, like, I don't want to tell you, because I don't want to give them the question and then they're prepared, or most of the time they back out. Like, sometimes they'll be like, oh, I don't want to answer that. So right, I'll just surprise you, and then right, camera rolling, sweet. Right, have you ever thought about someone while having sex? Someone else?
Right.
And they were like, no way, like, I don't do that, I have a boyfriend, da, da, da. And I was like, right, okay, cool. Still doesn't mean you don't think with someone else. And that was sweet. They answered it, but like, they were really safe with it. There was a safe answer. It wasn't like, it wasn't good content or nothing. But anyway, I didn't know their boyfriends was there.
Oh, fuck.
So I had two lads come over to me while I was interviewing someone else with the same question, and they had just like tapped my shoulder and went, oh, we want an interview, can you come over and see us after? I was like, sweet, happy days, another piece of content. So went over after, and they didn't want an interview. Like, they wanted to ask me why I had asked their girlfriends, why the fuck are you asking them? Have they thought about someone else while having sex? I was thinking to myself, oh fuck, how did I get out of this one? Like, I am fucked here. Oh man. I was like, look lads, I'm really sorry about that. Like, I just generally just a bit of banter. Like, this is what I do. I just go on nights out and ask random questions. Like, I didn't realise that you were a boyfriend. They're like, do you not think that's a bit of a dick thing to do? But like, going around asking people that kind of stuff. I said, look boys, I'm like, I don't know what you think I am or what you think I'm doing. Like, my girlfriend's here. Like, I'm not hitting on your girl or nothing. Like, my girlfriend's over there. She was the one recording it. Like, it's grand. And then they sort of took it okay at that point. Once I said I had a girlfriend, they were like, oh, all right, okay. And they backed off a little bit, but they were still pissed. I could tell they wanted to take my head off. Like, and I shook their hands. Look, boys, look, nice to meet you. My name's Stefan. Didn't mean no bar. Look, I'll delete the video in front of you. So I deleted the video. That was it. End of. So yeah, I've had a few other ones as well went wrong, but it does ruin your night. It does ruin your night because when someone wants to fucking like take your head off, it's hard to go out the rest of the night and enjoy it. You know what I mean? And like, I generally mean no harm, and most people that know me know that. But if you don't know me and you think, who's this hot shot coming around asking my girl all these questions, like, so it can't go wrong. But I've never meant anything wrong by it. Like,
because like you said, like,
scary.
There's not many people. There's not many people do it. Like, you know, so it is sort of.
I know, but most of the time they expect it now. Like, most of the time, whenever I go out, they come to me for the questions, which is a good thing. I'm at a point now where they're approaching me. And they're like, oh, can you ask me a question tonight? And they're always up for it. So
makes it so much.
It makes it so much easier.
Not gonna lie, even after this conversation, you leave. If I ever seen you and
you're not coming up to avoid.
I'd be like, God, there's your. And then as soon as I see the road mic, I'd be like, nope, avoid it. Like, no.
But yeah, it is scary when it goes wrong because I just don't like confrontation at all.
Was that like the scariest one?
Well, there's been another few that's happened recently that was scary enough too. But it's just like, one of the guys did want to fucking kill me, like, and I just got out in there and went home, and that was it. Like, nothing was said, but
fuck.
I don't do the nights out stuff as much as you think. Like, whatever I do on the night out.
Would you do like just a load of them in one night?
Yeah, do a load of them in one night, and then I sort of let that last if I can.
Like
you know, like but I try not to do it as much anymore because it's just because see when people have got alcohol in them, mate, it can go anywhere.
And would you have like a drink and all, just chill out?
Yeah, sometimes as well. Sometimes as well. Depends what kind of night I'm out for. If I'm out, sometimes I just go out for the content. Sometimes I'm out for a mate's birthday or just going out for just because I want to. But I'll take my mic with me every time because I actually find it hard to go one night out and not do it. Like, see, just a normal night out for me is like it's so hard to enjoy it. Like, I don't really enjoy nights out anymore. It's sort of sad in a way because
was it because of that?
No, not even. I think this could be good. I could make content tonight. My head's just stuck in that frame of mind where I could be doing so much more.
Because you're in that environment.
Do you know what I mean? I'm in that environment. I'm here anyway. I'm spending the money to be here, to have a drink. Why have I not just brought my mics with me to do videos for half an hour?
Yeah.
So I think I enjoy that aspect of my nights out more, because I'm meeting people and like saying hello and mingling with people, like even after the question and before the question's asked. Like before, people just see the video on TikTok, but like people don't see. I actually spend a lot of time with most people I interview. Like I'm sitting there having a good night with them. Yeah. I'll chat away. I get to know their name. I get to know what they do. It's not just, can I get a TikTok question and then boom, I'm out. You know, I do spend a lot of time with people, which you probably wouldn't see or know that if you didn't.
That's a good point there. So. And like, what's been like your favourite time you've done it? Like, has there been one that stands out that you're like, fuck, I was gold? Like?
And golden interview, I don't really know.
I remember there was one you done with like, was it like these English women that were like older?
Oh yeah, that would be that. That would be it. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that was a good one. So that was actually my girlfriend's mum's friends.
Right.
And I was a bit nuts.
Like these women are filthy.
Like we knew, I had met them I think twice before, but they're mental. Like I met them at a wedding party one time and they were just fucking nuts. And it was the English girl I was sitting beside in the video. Like I just knew she was going to just go like say a mad answer, because like I've met her at the wedding party and I think straight away she was like, oh, I wish I didn't have a husband so I could ride you or something. Like, she's just as rash, like that's something like the wrong line she said. I was like, sweet. So I asked him that day, is marriage still important? That's like it's not a saucy question. Is marriage still important? Because a lot of people don't agree with marriage anymore.
You're probably
and these like, these chicks are all married and have kids and all, by the way. So I thought, right, this will be a good question. So and then it went down the route it went, where they were talking about their sex life being amazing, how wide they are, all this mad shit, and I because in my head I was thinking, right, I need a couple of videos to post. Like I need to do a few interviews for this one question and make it into one video. But I was like, once I got that answer, I was like, sweet, I'm out. Like I went home and just edited it and threw it straight up. I didn't even need to do any more questions. So yeah, I think that would definitely be a golden one, because I didn't even do any more after that. I was like, that's sort of but that was mental. That was
my work here is done.
That was crazy. Like, but people are open enough to talk about it, which is good.
No, definitely. Especially over here, like you wouldn't expect it.
They were originally from England, so that might have probably something to do with it. But I think if you are anybody that wants to interview people or even just speak to people, make them feel like as comfortable as possible is the best way to get the answer you want.
Do you get like many ones coming up to you being like, fuck, I'd love to do what you're doing at the minute? Like?
Sometimes, I've had a few ones like text me and stuff like, oh, how did you do that, or how did you start, like why are you doing it? And I think a lot of people just any 16-year-old or 18-year-old you talk to these days want to be a YouTuber and TikToker. Like there's very rarely you meet a young person or like, oh, I want to be a lawyer, or oh, I want to work for this business. Like they all want to work for themselves. They all want to be a TikToker or a YouTuber. So you do get the young ones that say like, oh, how did you do that, or why did you start, and how can I do that? And it's just as simple as do what you love. Like I just love talking to people, so it just made sense. And I think everybody should probably have a podcast. Like I'm a big believer in, like, if you want to make friends with someone, or if you're a business person and you wanna do business with someone, the best way to do that is start a podcast and invite them on.
Definitely.
That's how you do it.
The amount of people we've met through this, like people you would never have talked to, like it's mental.
And even with my podcast, like most of the people I've interviewed, I've really wanted to interview them for a long time, and I wanted just to be their friend. So I thought what I'll do is I'll start a podcast and ask them on. They say yes, have a great chat with them. Now I'm good friends with them. So it's sort of like the high school what was it they call it? The high school party trick. Whereas if you're like rank 200 in high school of cool kids, number 1 being the coolest, number 200 being like the least. If you're number 200, the best way to climb that rank is host a house party and invite everyone. Then all of a sudden you become rank 5. You've hosted the party. You're the guy that hosts that party and brings everyone along. So that's how I view the podcast. Like I'm just that guy that's hosting it. I bring on the cool people, the people I want to speak to, the people I want to do business with, the people I want to be friends with, bring them on, and then all of a sudden I've built up a network of friends and business people that I wanted to speak to anyway. So I think everybody should definitely look at doing that, and it's a good concept of why you want to start. That's how I started anyway.
It's cool though that like people are saying, you know, like the 16, 18-year-olds and stuff are coming to you and asking like how you. It's cool to know that people are still interested, because like I think over here is such a big thing as well, where like people want to do this sort of stuff. And like I remember whenever we started like doing this, people were like, who the heck are these guys? Like, what the heck? And people, we still get it now, like, so it's not really, but it's just less, like, it just bothers us less.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like there's that sort of fear over here where it's like, oh no, like, I'm not doing that, 'cause what would people think of me?
There's nobody really doing it over here though. Like.
No,
Like, that's why we started the podcast at the start, was because like we were looking and there's like, you have your obviously your Shane Taws and your Colin Geddes, but there was no one really our age doing a podcast or making content.
It wasn't really mainstream, because you were definitely the first I've seen. I didn't think I knew anyone.
I think a few people were doing it, but they were maybe too scared to push it. Whereas like whenever we started doing it, we were like, no, well, there's no point in doing this and not pushing it to the absolute max. Like,
just flip and go full on. And yeah, sometimes it does scare me though whenever people come up to me, because I was at the Northern Ireland game a few weeks ago, and like this wee like 8-year-old had come up to me and a few of his mates and was like, oh, did your friend find his bike? And I was like, are you speaking to the right guy? What are you on about? And he was like, oh, your friend, remember his bike got stolen? I listened to your podcast. I was thinking, this, holy shit. I said he wouldn't have known that if he didn't like listen to the full podcast. I'm like, this 8-year-old is listening to me, and I'm swearing and everything in my podcast. I'm like, please don't listen to it. Like, but so it's really cool. Like, I take it as a compliment, as the best compliment in the world. Like, but at the same time, like, well, it actually reaches more people than you think, and I know your numbers are incredible as well. So you just do not know who's in your audience, and that's why it's a great thing, because who you are, then like the minute you open up your mouth, you're telling the world who you are. Yeah, and you just never know who's in that audience who will reach out to you, and you just don't know.
Definitely. Yeah, you touched on the Northern Ireland thing. You're like presenting for Northern Ireland and all now. Like how that
crazy,
come about?
like,
That's
I know,
mad, man.
it's bloody mad. It was last August, sitting in my old sales job, and got a DM from a guy who, it's this guy Andy, and he said, oh, I work for Northern Ireland, would you fancy doing some work for us? And I was like, I'm not too sure if this is legit. Like, there's no way Northern Ireland want me to do videos for them. Like, have they seen my fucking TikTok feed? Like, I'm asking people sex positions, what makes a good kisser. Why does Northern Ireland want to do stuff with me? And I was like, nah, that's not legit. I was like, that's just flipping mental. And then I went on my TikTok, and then the Northern Ireland football team had followed me at the official account, and then it had followed me on Instagram. I was like, oh shit, this is legit. Like the football team actually followed me. Then I replied to him, and then we got chatting, and he said, look, we love what you do. Like, we think you're great on camera. We think you're good at chatting to people. Want to test you out and do a few interviews for us. So that was sweet. Done that for 5 weeks or so in the build up to the Kosovo friendly last year, and they really liked me and they kept me on. They're like, look, we'd love you to be a presenter alongside Bernadette. You have had Bernadette on here. She's amazing. Like, and I was so honoured. Like, I was like, whoa. Like, Northern Ireland have 2 presenter slots, one female, one male, and like out of all the millions of people that live in this country, they're like, they picked me. And I was like, that's mental.
That's huge.
I was like, how does that happen? I literally started at that point in time. I was 6 months into TikTok, so not that long. I think I had maybe just hit 10k followers, or maybe not even that. And I was like, there's no way like Northern Ireland has given me this. Like, I was blown away. I'm so thankful for every time. Like, I'm blown away every time I get to do it. It's crazy.
And what else are you doing apart from like is there any other? You were out today working with?
I was out today, I was soaking up here today, man. So that was through the IFA as well, because there's the Irish Cup final coming up in 2 weeks time from today. So the Ballymena boy, let's go. So Ballymena Crusaders are playing, and because IFA have host that tournament basically, and I work with them already. They were like, we want to work with you alongside that as well, and present at the game, do ticket giveaways up in Belfast and in Ballymena before the game and the build up for it. So I'm doing that with IFA. Got to do work with JD through Northern Ireland as well.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it just was like a photo shoot day. Northern Ireland had released new training kits and that new green kit, the yellow kit as well. So I was basically doing like a photo shoot for their website and emails and all that stuff. So got to do that, and then just other businesses about. Like, I've done stuff for Victoria Square, TransLink. I'm working with now as well. So mate, I just wake up on a Monday morning, read my emails, see who's in it, and I go from there. Like, I don't know what work I'm gonna have until I get an email in. And the one thing which is crazy as well is like, you can be impressed with all the like businesses and stuff I've worked with, but what's even more impressive is they've all reached out to me. Like, I've never sent one email. I've never sent one message to, can I work with you? I'd love to do this for you. Like, they've all came to me, which is mad. So it makes me think, I'm at a point now where I'm like, what if I actually had something set up where I was actually reaching, like doing the reaching out? I could maybe do more. Do you know what I mean? But for this moment in time, I'm enjoying my life, and yeah, just take it as it comes, basically.
Nice place to
Which
be.
is a nice place to be,
Yeah.
yeah. But I'm always thinking to myself, I can do more. I
Yeah.
always push myself to do more. Like,
But then the thing is, you think that, and then you push and push and push and push, and
And then
then
you're
eventually you just really come to a stage where you're like, this is I've done too much. You expect too much of yourself. Like we've definitely got a couple of stages with this where it's like we all have like full-time jobs, and it's like you just keep. You'll see a wee spike in the numbers, and you'll be like, "Oh, if we just keep pushing,
yeah,
like we are." It's not like we're not pushing. Like we show up.
Could be
you show up every week.
What I was saying, we could be doing more. Like it's like you said, like anything we've done with brands, like they've came to us, and you're sort of like, we should really be reaching out to people more to try and. But then,
that's what I have as well. But I don't know. I feel like it's better if they're reaching out.
Yeah,
It could be maybe I hate the whole. It reminds me of my sales jobs. It's too sleazy or something.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, no, I think it's better if they see the value in what you do first.
Yeah,
And then try and get maybe a long-term work with them that way.
Yeah.
But there is something to be said that you can reach out, because a lot of people want to use like people that have an audience now.
yeah,
Even like micro influencers or whatever way you want to name it. Like, it's like a big market at the minute.
Yeah.
Like, there's plenty of money to be made full time.
yeah,
Doing that
100%,
kind of stuff. So it's definitely something that's worth looking into. But as you say, you don't want to burn yourself either. Because I've got like 2 podcasts now. I do like a wee football show with a guy Sam on Ballways. I do my own podcast, and then I'm doing all these interviews throughout the week, doing the Northern Ireland football games.
Yeah.
All the build up to that. So sometimes it can be a lot,
yeah.
especially if you're like the one editing it and you're the one like making the thumbnail, trying to think of a title, do your research on the guests coming up on your podcast, because you don't know what the hell you're going to talk about.
Yeah.
I've had that plenty of times.
Yeah.
Plenty of times I don't even prepare. I just come in, put my mic up, and I just go.
Yeah.
And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
Depends on the kind of person you are. Like, but yeah, it can be a lot.
It depends. No, it depends on the kind of person you are, but I think it also depends on the kind of person you also have sitting in front of you.
True.
Because we've prepared for some guests and it hasn't worked out. We've also not prepared for some guests and it's banged.
Aye.
Like, and not banged, but then you say that, like, we touched about this before we hit record. Like, there's some podcasts where you walk away from and you go, we could have done better.
Yeah.
We could have done better, and it'll end up doing well.
Yeah.
And then I think, like, it's like when you're doing stuff like this, you need to kind of get out of your head. It's like, this is not what I want to see. It's what the audience want to see. Like,
what value they get.
I'm not the audience. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, yeah, like, fair play. You're doing a lot, like, but mad, like, the questions and stuff that you ask, and like even like the confidence, like we were saying, we done work for a brand, done a bit of like the Vox Pop stuff, and holy moly, it was like
it's hard, like. But it's like we were chatting about it before. I think people look at like the podcasts and like the content you make, and they're like, oh, like I could do that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like when you're in the situation out in the street trying to get people, like, you're like, it's not easy, like.
No, because even whenever I'd first started, and I've said this story in my own podcast before, like, I went up to Belfast on a Saturday afternoon, just to start. I was like, oh, this will be my first video. And my first question was, what makes a good kisser? I thought, right, I'll ask that. But like literally everyone said no to me. Like, I think I asked 8 or 9 people, and everyone said no. And I was like, oh my god! I spent all this money getting these mics, getting a camera. Took my girlfriend up with me, wasted her time, wasted my time. Spent a whole Saturday up here trying to get people. Got no one. Went home, I was like, fuck this. But I had a friend that was going to Port Rush the next day. I thought, right, the Port is normally a decent spot.
that Port.
Yeah. The Port there. And I was like, the Port is a good spot. Like, people are always bouncing up there. Like, everyone goes up for Morelli's, everyone's got the cars out.
Yeah.
Like, it's normally good vibes in the Port, isn't it? It's
Straight
fucking
pipes
class.
are bap 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 bap.
I love the way you're looking at me as if I have this thing against the Port. Like,
no, it's so funny. It's so funny.
Belfast
Though. It's so
doesn't
funny
get
though, because like we're like I'm normally outweighed by 2 people from Armagh.
True.
Like I used to always talk about the Port, and you'd be like, "What's the Port?" Like, you know, you knew, and then we're like, "Oh no, it's like it's a big thing down where we're at," and you're like, "What does that mean, man?" You're like, Port Sundays.
Port Sundays, mate.
Easter Sunday.
Port Sundays
Like,
is
even
where it's
like
at.
like I said to them,
Easter
like
Sunday.
around the time Easter Sunday, I goes, boys, you wouldn't be want to venture up there on Easter Sunday, and they're like, why? I'd be like, beach chocolate block, and he's like,
2 hours to get around.
they're like,
It's like,
seriously?
oh, wow.
man,
Fuck
I didn't go this year. I went last year and I done mad content, and it fucking banged because cultures are out in full flow.
oh, like it's like the one day a week they let them out.
I mean, yes, you you sort of do want to be there because it's good crack, but mate, it's fucking mental.
Yeah.
Like brown shoes everywhere.
Yeah.
The fancy body warmers. What do they call them?
Super dry.
Yeah. Like that's everywhere, mate, and it's just culture central. But they sort of see me coming now, and they like expect the fucking questions. So it's good crack. Like, I fucking love it. But it is mental. And they buy you drink like fuck, by the way. Like, they're really nice people. Like, they'll go down and see if they recognise you boys for doing this. They will literally just buy you rounds of fucking drink. I had 20 apple sours at one point on my fucking table.
I think we need to go down.
Which was, trust me, mate, 20 apple sours is a bit much.
Fuck me, mate.
I like it. Like, it's a good atmosphere and stuff. Like, but there was one that day I was down on Easter Sunday, and we were actually down. My fiance has like her mum and dad have like an apartment down there, so we were staying down for like the Saturday night before. We'd been out the Saturday night before at like a friend's birthday party. The next morning we were walking to the shop, and I was wearing like these like red Reebok like Nanos. I was walking up the thing, and like just queues of cars, like, and of course like they all had drink in them, so they were all like yelling out the window and shouting abuse. And I was just so high, I was like, I couldn't be honest for this. And then one of them turns around and goes like, "Oh, Dorothy with the red shoes out there." And I was like, do you want to go? Like, how does it get me in this shop and home? Because you couldn't take the car.
Oh, no.
Like,
waste of time.
Maxwell's 2 seconds round the corner. It would have took us about an hour.
That's
honestly,
ridiculous.
it's mental, mate.
It's probably where most of the CO2 comes from.
Global warming is literally because of Port Sundays, man.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie. It's Port Sunday season right now.
Is it every Sunday though, like that? Like,
no,
like if you went down
certain
Sunday,
season in the year.
Yeah.
But right now, if you went, we're in Port Sunday season.
We're in peak season, like the sun's out.
Sun's out.
Brown boots, jeans, shirt, super dry.
Yeah.
Gel in the hair. Let's go.
The car that they've kept in the garage all years out as well. Yeah, it's mental.
I remember, like, but you don't understand.
Do you ever see like a proper really nice? What's the nicest car you've seen at the port though?
That was one of my questions actually. I think I seen there was somebody driving a Lambo one day.
Serious?
Down there. Yeah, you get some real nice things like
Tom Smith down at the port.
I know. No, they love
massive
it.
Revs, like,
but most of the time it's just like cars that are done up and mapped.
Fucking
straight piped and all.
turbos and all.
It's all about the straight pipe and like Reiki fucking Boros and shit.
Megans.
That would have been shit like 10 years ago. Like, I used to bag Jetta and all. Like in high school, he had the bag Jetta like proper.
He should take her down a run.
Yeah.
See, I don't mind.
Not in great shape now.
I don't mind going down now. I used to hate it whenever I was younger. I hung about with a guy who drove a Mark IV Golf, and like he had it proper nice. Like we went to Dub Shed once, which is like this big massive car show.
Seen it.
We went there once, and like Jack was like not as friendly with him now as I was. He's like my best mate back in the day, but like he was driving at the time. And like Jack's a proper time, like whenever he got like this, whenever he turned 16 and got a tractor license, me and him scooted around like Ballymena in the tractor, like going in to like get Orange chippies and all, like proper, like I was proper in the scene, like, and then like, I was well, no, I'm joking, but like even around Ballymena, like McDonald's car park is like a mad one as well. Like there's times where
there's Grease Pit in Ballymena, but it's not there anymore.
Yeah,
there's the car park across from KFC.
Yeah.
But it's like it's turning into Burger King or something.
Yeah. Was it turning into Yarn?
It's a Burger King, right?
Have said it's going to be a coffee shop, but they haven't said.
Oh god, that's the last thing Ballymena needs.
Another fucking shop, Starbucks. We're talking about 2 Starbucks because there used to be 2 Starbucks in Ballymena way back.
Yeah.
One in Tesco and then one in the Fairhill.
Yeah. And
then the one in the Fairhill's still there that I used to work in. So we need another one.
Yeah.
Here, I'd nearly work in it, mate.
Yeah.
I'd work part-time hours on the war.
You love it, man.
Here we were driving by the other day. McDonald's didn't pay too bad.
McDonald's they pay well.
Yeah.
Get a Starbucks brandy.
Starbucks is minimum wage. McDonald's I think pays a bit more than minimum wage.
Night shift's like 13 quid.
Bad.
Yeah, tough. Yeah.
And that'll be the best crack.
Yeah.
Like people driving through at night, drunk people in the back, and you just shout and shout to them, and mate, I love that customer service stuff.
Yeah, driving home.
I'm the opposite. Can you imagine nightmare?
I
working in like McDonald's in Belfast on like a
stress,
Saturday night.
The orders right and all.
I don't miss
One's
it.
shouting abuse at you. Where's my fucking Big Mac?
I don't miss it now. Like I used to work in Carphone Warehouse in the Tar Centre. And I worked there for like 4.5, 5 years. Like I worked there for a brave long time, like throughout pretty much since I got like my national insurance number.
Wow. I'm pretty sure I got a phone or two out there before. I'm surprised I had
probably did. I probably fleeced you at some
stage.
Maybe
did.
Yeah. Did you take insurance?
Nah, I never take them, mate, because I I know how the commission works. I'm not fucking telling you. And they're always like, oh, but
£6, boy. There we go.
Well, in case you break your phone, I'm like, mate, I never break my phone.
Yeah.
Like I've never honestly broke a phone.
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen.
Guarantee. I was like, here, lad, do you want to take this insurance? Like, it works out about a cup of coffee a week. And you're like, dude, I work for Starbucks. I don't need a cup of coffee.
I get free coffee, bro. Shut up. Free coffee every day, every hour, actually.
Nice.
Basically.
But yeah, this you should go down. That should be it.
I've been to the
crack.
port with you like
Here's the
4
crack.
or 5 times. You're like, I've fucking never been there.
I know,
like.
but like, here's the crack on Easter Sunday.
Fucking Ballymena.
Sure,
Boys
the
ganging
good
up on
content,
me.
the car scene content always does well.
Yeah.
Like I always bang. 'Cause
Yeah.
people are always in the comments flipping, comparing their
Oh,
cars,
she
and
shut me up.
giving people abuse on it. Like it does well.
Yeah.
So if you can tie in with cars and do content at the same time,
Yeah.
you're all the winner.
You
Like
take the Civic there, no?
I used to never go down. Like, I went down in Jack's car because like he had a really nice Golf, and like, but he was proper. Like, he drove down from Ballymena, got to the port, and then like pulled in and done like a wee pre-wash before like driving around. He was so
Slick the
particular about
tyres
the car,
and all
like
that.
slicking the car. I used to drive a Corsa, so I was like, I am not going down there because people will call me all sorts
Oh,
if I
yeah.
drive a Corsa. Like,
yeah, of course, it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
you
Well, don't
take
mind-
wee girls into it. and
yeah.
all that shit.
How many 14-year-olds you got like that? And I'd be like, none.
It was like the certain white Corsa,
Yeah,
like a certain model. I'm not good with models and like
the
names.
racing stripes.
and then them as well. Yeah,
the limited.
You had one of them, didn't
No,
you?
I didn't have
Did
the
you
one
not have
there.
a
No,
stripe on it?
no. God no. I had a.
Couldn't do it
I
yourself.
had a
I think you
great.
did.
I couldn't go to.
No,
You couldn't be seen dead in the
I
port
did
with that.
buy a
You had the
limited.
2 big white racing stripes down the
Yeah,
middle.
no, I definitely didn't. Definitely didn't. Don't sell me out like this. I had a grey one and then upgraded it. I'm a Civic now, but it's far better.
Yeah,
Broom,
I've
broom.
never. I'm still driving my first car.
Yeah.
I'm driving a
Fair play.
Vauxhall Astra mate 06. It's my first car, and it's
Nice.
been my only car for 4 years.
Here, as they say, it gets you from A to B.
I'm telling you, mate.
That's it.
I'm generally not into my cars. Like, see if I had all the money in the bank that I want, I still wouldn't even buy a car.
They're not
That-
cheap.
I will drive that car
See,
into the ground.
I think
Yeah.
it's completely different for you because you're up here, everything's on your doorstep. Like, I come and see you like once a week, and I'm like, well, have you drove much this week? And you're like, no. Like, me and him went down to Armagh to play golf a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, well, and you were like, I think it's the first time I've driven like a week.
Honestly.
Like,
Wow.
whereas like
Yeah.
for us, it's like,
You
like
have
down
to
in
drive.
Ballymena, you have to drive.
I,
like,
I was like
Everywhere's
that back.
big as well.
I was like got back home in Armagh. Like, I
Yeah.
lived in the middle of nowhere, and it was like
Mm.
15 minutes just to shop. Like, so I
Whereas,
needed the car. Like.
to be fair, now like I used to live outside Ballymena in like the country, so I was driving a lot. And then before we bought the house, I was like, I'm gonna get a car that I know is gonna last me because like, I don't want to buy a house and
Yeah.
then the car shits itself, and you're like, I'm gonna have to. So
Break your heart.
I actually committed to buying like a car that I knew was gonna like last me, because I wouldn't be like particular. Like, I like a clean car.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I wouldn't be like, "Ugh, I need to, like, I'm getting the best version." Like, the guy
Yeah.
was trying to fleece me like a Type R, and I was like, I don't need a Type R.
I don't need that horsepower, bro. Keep it.
So yeah, so like, yeah,
I'm
like,
the same.
yeah,
I'm all for that. Like, I don't think I want to buy a car or a house anytime soon.
yeah.
I'm proper, like, want to work hard and just.
Would you ever go away? Like, would you ever leave Northern Ireland for?
Yeah, I think I would. I love the
Live
idea.
away.
I love the idea of going to Dubai, Middle East.
Yeah.
Like, I know that's sort of the cool thing everybody wants to do, but my dad's from Mauritius, so he's Mauritian. My mum's from here,
Right.
and they met in London, which is fucking random as hell.
Yeah.
A girl from Ballymoney meets a guy from Mauritius, and here I am.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's from Mauritius. So I've been to Mauritius loads, and he lives there at the minute. Actually,
Yeah.
Whereabouts is that? I have no idea.
That's-
my
take a
geography
guess.
is
Actually,
shit.
where do you think Mauritius is?
Fuck, man, I don't know.
Do you know where Mauritius is?
Is it near like Morocco? Is that right?
Well,
Just 'cause
Morocco's
it's
North
in-
Africa, so not really that close,
Near-
but close enough.
No, I have no. I'm not even
You have no idea, Arn? Is it Arn?
The geography here is per.
I would have said like Egypt, sort of area, but that's just me.
Well, these are close enough. That's North Africa as well. It's off the coast of Madagascar, which is South Africa.
Like the
Basically.
film.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, like the film. So if you think of the film, Mauritius is just like 2 minutes away.
We're so educated. Look.
So I know. How do you recognise Madagascar, the film? So yeah, my dad's from
We're
there.
sitting watching Madagascar, and I'm like, here, I know a boy who lives no too far from there.
Yeah, so I've always travelled a lot when I was young. Like, I've been to Mauritius months at a time.
Yeah.
Been to London months at a time. Went back and forth between London and Northern Ireland a lot because my mum and dad are split up. So I would have lived with my mum most of the time, but been in London a lot because my dad lived there now. So yeah, I've always sort of been well travelled and well cultured. My dad's Hindu. My
Right.
mum's Christian from here.
Yeah.
So I've spent a lot of time in Hindu culture. I've been to like loads of temples, been to mosques, like sort of been there, done all that. Like that was quite taboo whenever I was growing up over here. Like I remember being in primary school, and like I remember my dad picked me up one day, and like he's a black man, like, and like you just know that it's not normal. Like I was the only kid in school. I'm not black. I'm sort of like tanned, sort of nice mixed race. Whereas you just knew, oh, he's the only like black man in here.
Yeah.
So it was sort of like I grew up quite cultured, because I'd always had friends ask me, oh, like where's he from? What does he do? What do they believe in? And so you sort of always know that. Well, I knew I was always sort of well cultured at that age. Like I'd seen a lot and done a lot that a lot of kids where I grew up anyway.
Yeah.
Wasn't really exposed to. So I've always loved the idea of like just going somewhere else. So yeah, I think I would. Like I'd love to go to Middle East and probably Mauritius as well. Probably would like to have a place there. Yeah. Just to go back and like sort of be my second home.
What do you think of London?
Don't like it.
I think it's mad. It's massive.
I've
like only been once, like, but I remember we went over for a couple of days, like, and it was good, but I just was thinking I couldn't live here. Like it's fucking massive, hey.
No way. Too busy.
And everyone's running. Like I found it mad. Like the tube literally comes by like every couple of minutes.
Yeah.
And there's people sprinting, and you're like,
what are you doing? You're in a rush going nowhere, bro. Like where are you going?
For like the sake of a couple of minutes, I'm like, what the fuck have you? Where are you up
It's
to?
very rat race corporate life over there.
Yeah, but people always said that, and I was like, oh, like that's a bit extreme.
true.
But then you get there, and you're like, this is crazy. Like.
Yes, no, it's definitely true.
Yeah.
No, I'd definitely never live there.
No.
Unless I was like, I had to live there. I was getting paid like $200,000 a year or something.
Yeah.
You know, to do whatever.
Probably still wouldn't even be
probably
enough,
still wouldn't
like,
even make enough over there.
Yeah.
Like $200,000 over there is nothing. Like by the time you pay rent and stuff.
I know, it's mental.
Like, I knew a person over there living just in a shared accommodation.
Yeah.
For the one room that they had was $1,000 a month for one room.
Yeah.
$1,000 over here would get you a nice pad a month.
Yeah.
He's getting one room.
My fiance, her sister's in London. I think she's in shared accommodation. Her room's just over $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
Like.
Crazy.
That is disgusting.
Your travel on top of that, like your food and whatever bills you have.
Yeah.
Like you're talking a couple of grand a month just to get you by.
And you
Never mind.
Even have a good life.
And you could be living in London and like traveling an hour or two to work. Like it's not big, like.
Yeah.
Like,
like I work with people who live over in England. I was on a call there with a guy, and he is roughly around the same sort of house as me, and he was like, "Yeah, this is about 420 grand." I'm like, "Fuck." I beg your pardon, what?
That's
like, yeah, like
that's a crazy amount of money. Nah, you need to be doing like, unless you're working with sidemen or something.
Yeah.
Forget it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like that's when I would live there, but nothing else.
We had your guy Johnny Fitch, who like edits their audio.
I think I seen that,
but like he lives over here, like, and you're like, it's mad though. So like you assume they have like a whole team in like an office, but it's like all these.
No, they have a very small team now, because I've watched sidemen since I've been like no age, like in flipping high school and that. And like I've seen a video with them recently. I think they have like 4 staff members or something. Like they don't employ a lot of people. Like
it's mad.
And the operation they have in place, like their video quality, like the post production, like the thumbnails, like their social media, like it seems like there's a massive amount of people and money, amount of work that goes into that. And it's like 3 or 4 people.
That's crazy.
Which blows me away, because I in my head I'm thinking a massive production at that scale is requiring a flipping full office of people. Yeah, it's not like.
Like in terms of your content, like where would you like to take it? Like where's the sort of dream or goal?
Good question. Because I'm doing the presenter work now for Northern Ireland, which I think is still crazy. It's a good foot in the door. So I'm like presenting at the Euro qualifier games coming up like all this year. So I'm praying the goal qualify, get me to Germany next year.
Yeah, that'll be sick.
So presenting is something I love. Like I love doing it. So with that, me and Bernadette would sometimes do like a wee show before it. Like interview maybe 1 or 2 of the players, or I would mostly do like all the fan TV work, like on match day and on the build up as well, asking fans like what's it like to be back home, score predictions, get in there, like kind of Arsenal fan TV basically, but Northern Ireland fan TV.
Mark Ulrich.
So I absolutely love it. So going down that route, like I sort of really like, you know, Josh Denzel from Love Island. He's sort of the guy I'm sort of moulding myself after now, because he does the presenting work for BT.
He killed it. Like.
He does a lot of work with the Premier League clubs. He'd done the Jake Paul and Tommy Fury fight in Saudi. So if I can sort of follow the footsteps he's went in and present at them kind of places, like I'd love to do that.
His story's sick as well. Like.
That's meant.
Like he started off, well, you know, like Sports Bible. like he was mates with one of the guys on it, and like he was like in this fucking like sales job, and he just went out and like he was like, oh, would you like video this for me? And he went out to like film Anthony Joshua just to film him like with his own phone. And he was like, fuck it, like. And he like just went behind the camera and started asking him questions, him on the camera, tagging his socials and all. And then he went on Love Island and all, obviously, but like it was fucking sick, man.
Yeah. No, I really like what he's doing, and he's really good at it.
Yeah,
like, I know you watch the football,
and
you've probably seen him
overlap and all as well. He's
on the
doing
overlap with
live
Gary
on
Neville hosting that. So I visualise myself doing that. Feel like I can do it, and like I'm already doing it for the national team here. I'm doing it for the Irish Cup final over here as well. Like I seen the other week actually, Josh Denzel posted a photo of the FA Cup, and like he was doing an FA Cup game, and then in a couple of weekends time I'll be presenting at the Irish Cup final. So I'm like, it's nearly the same thing.
Because you're probably doing
it's the Irish version of what he's doing.
That's what I was gonna say. You're doing.
And unfortunately, we were today actually. I was doing some of the Irish Cup final content, giving away tickets to fans and doing a few football competitions and that. And the cup was supposed to be there today, but it didn't make it for like, I don't know, was it like a shitty day and like insurance and all that. Just wasn't like happy bringing it out. But I was like, if I had literally got that trophy and got a photo of it, like, oh. It'd have been great.
Tagging Josh.
Me, I'm doing the same shit.
Yeah.
Just in Northern Ireland. Like. So yeah, I want a crossover at some point. Like I still want to do the Northern Ireland stuff because this is my home. Like I love it, and I love the opportunity they gave me. But yeah, going down the route he went and doing like the fights in Saudi. Like AJ might be fighting in December with Tyson Fury and Wilder and Usyk. Love to be over there doing some stuff for the Zone. I think that'd be mint.
Yeah. And like, what about the podcast? Like, what would be your sort of dream guest, or what's your sort of goal with that?
Goal would be, the goal has always been just to meet people and to just give value to every listener that ever wants to just listen in. And that's always been the dream. I've never expected anything from the podcast. I've never thought, oh, this is going to be like an income. It's never even crossed my mind that this podcast will ever make me money.
Yeah.
The dream has literally just been, I want to meet people. And if I can text them to tell them to come on my podcast so we can get to know their story and just get mates out of it, like that is my dream. Like that's goal ticked. Like I'm not worried about anything else.
You like asking, like you like sort of exploring like deeper topics as well. That's one thing I've noticed. Like I know even like I've seen a couple of clips that you've done around like the whole sort of like your like the sort of faith church background and stuff, which I know like even down Norway is like a bit of a taboo sort of topic. Like I thought that was pretty cool. Like the way like, you got a pastor on or something.
I got a pastor on as well. We done an episode on Who Is Jesus. It was great. Love that episode. But yeah, I wanted to sort of bring that vibe with the podcast. Like every episode sort of stands and falls on its own. Like they're all so different. I've had so many different guests on, and I love that. And I love just like getting to know the person, because a lot of time you can just scratch the surface with the person, and it's an easy topic to talk about. But like sometimes I'm like, no, I want to actually get to know this person a bit more, because they might put on something for online, and like we actually want to know this person, who they actually really are. So I always do go in with like a bit of a deeper question. And recently I got the conversation cards from the Diary of a CEO as well. So I invested in that, and I thought that'll be a great one as well to bring onto the podcast and just open up the conversation, because it can go anywhere. Like you just never know. And like the feedback you get from like sort of exploring them taboo conversations, mate, is mad. Like I had people text me who I've never met in my life on Instagram and LinkedIn even. They were like, can't believe you brought a pastor on. Really enjoyed that episode. I'm actually going back to church this Sunday. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Fair play,
and that's mad.
See, that's
crazy.
I think I said this to you before. Like that was just very not, I won't say smart as if it's like an advertising thing, so it can sound very disingenuous, but like very cool of him to go to do your podcast, because like a lot of people would just be like, no way, very closed off when it comes to like it being tackled on, because like we're, you know, I think it's like one of them things, and me and Aaron like have had this conversation and stuff before down like our way. It's like it's that conversation that no one wants to have. No. It's definitely not tricky. Like, so it's cool, like even the fact that he said to coming on and like openly discuss stuff. As
he reached out to me originally. I don't even know why. I think I used to go to a church, and he knows a few people I went to church with, and then reached out and just wanted to say hello. And then I went down to his church, and it's called R8 Church in, where's that again? I can't even remember where it's at now. Portadown maybe. Portadown I think it is. And it was great. It was a great church. He brought a really good message that Sunday. Worship was great. And I was like, this is really nice. This is a great church. Like, even from the minute I parked my car to the minute I left, like, I felt welcome, felt at home, felt like this is a place God could live. And I was like, mate, I'd love to bring you on a podcast and just chat about faith, because I've never had the chance to chat about anything like that really on the podcast, and it'd be a really unique guest to bring on. And I think it's great for a pastor to come on too. I think, because a lot of pastors would look at that and go, I'm not going on some random lad's podcast that swears all the time. But he's showing there that that's who Jesus is, that he comes down to your level, whoever that level is.
That's who you need to be, like.
And I think that represents Jesus to me the most, rather than, like, I couldn't care less if you brought the best message ever on a Sunday, or if you tithe the most money. Like, if you can show that you love people the way Jesus said he loved people, I think that you're winning. Like, and he really demonstrated that just by turning up.
I think people twig on to that. People have, and especially like our generation, are starting to twig on to stuff like that, because, like, I would say being like brought up in like a Christian sort of environment, like, I've always seen it as like a lot of people look towards the person at the front of the church and not like why they're actually there. And that was one reason why for me I was a bit like,
it's not for you,
not sure, like
I get that, because
so it's cool like that he's able to, you know.
It was because I've been to church loads, and like anytime anybody had like we were always asked maybe like, what do you want to do with your life, and everybody in the youth team, like, they all wanted to be pastors. I sort of find myself, there's no way like all 40 of us in here
just
want to be pastors. I'm like, you feel like you feel like you have to say that because you're in a church setting, or two, you think being a pastor and being the public speaker at the church service on Sunday, that's what being a Christian is, or that's the only calling God has for your life, is that you have to be a pastor. When you don't, like, what you guys do on a podcast is just as good as a pastor on a Sunday. Like, you're serving, but the way you do it's maybe different. Setting you do it and it's different. But you're still serving. Like, that's what God's only called us to. First of all, God's only called us to serve him. Like, that's literally it. Anything else you do outside of that is just fancy words and titles. So just whatever area in life that you happen to serve in, that's literally your calling. So it doesn't have to be on stage on a Sunday. It doesn't have to be in a church at all. You can just be doing what you're doing in your day-to-day job, or doing podcasts, I guess, whatever it is.
It's cool to think about that though. Like, a lot of people, like, you're seeing it more and more now, people are doing it in like their own way. 100%. And like, I think like whereas a lot of people still have this mentality where it's like, oh, well, you can be very good if you're saying the odd curse word, or like doing this or doing that or whatever. Like, a lot of people sort of look at it like, well, you're not a very good example. But it's like,
and it was good for me because I've been a Christian like my whole life, and I don't even claim to really be one right now, to be honest. Like, I don't go around saying I'm a Christian, or just because I know I'm not actively living that life, so I don't want to give the wrong impression to anyone.
I bet you saying that as a label, like, it's a label that comes with a lot,
because it's quite a heavy label to live by as well.
Word, like,
and you might know yourselves from maybe going to church, but you don't want to just like, I don't want to be bad PR for Jesus. Do you know what I mean? Like,
that's so true.
Like, this guy deserves the best marketing team ever. And I ain't good at marketing for Jesus. Like, I'm good at marketing Stefan. But so I'm so careful, and I feel like anyone that listened to the podcast with Philip got that. I hope so anyway, because like, I did read out my devotion, and I was open enough about saying that I believed in church, or believed in God for a long time, and I still do, but I don't want to live a life at the minute. And that was it. But it was there mostly to have an open conversation about God, so that people listening might actually explore it. So I feel like we do live in a bit more of a godless society, and it's probably not the best. And I feel like even just talking about that kind of stuff can help people. Because then they might go, well, that might be for me. And what even is church anyway? Like, church is just a gathering of 2 or more people. That's literally what it says in the Bible. So this is church right now. Us 4 guys in this room talking about our life, being honest with each other, loving one another. That is literally church. It doesn't have to be a building on a Sunday. It can literally just be a group of friends just being honest with each other, talking about different things. So that was the whole point of it.
And obviously, like, you bring an array of guests on the podcast and kind of chat and stuff about it, and obviously I touched on, would you ever like leave, like, you said there, like, obviously the work you do and stuff for Northern Ireland, like, you love Northern Ireland and stuff, but like, I suppose what is your sort of opinion on like what you said the stuff you like about it, but in terms of where do you feel like in Northern Ireland, especially for people who are like putting out content or whatever, like we talk a lot about it on our podcast, like the whole influencer scene and stuff in Northern Ireland. Like, do you feel like that's a bit of a taboo area as well? Like,
yes, it can be, and I'm very quick. Like, I've heard people, even some of my friends, and even people just making content online in the scene at the minute, like nearly downgrade Northern Ireland a little bit, and like maybe say people in Northern Ireland are just jealous. I genuinely don't believe that. I had my friend say it on my podcast once, and I was like, nah, like I don't believe that at all. I don't believe people in Northern Ireland are that bad or that jealous. Like, I genuinely go out, and whenever I'm doing my stuff, I'm like, nah, like me and you are going to have the fucking best time. Like I might only spend 10 minutes with you, but me and you are going to get fucking on. That's so, like, just going to work. Like,
love me.
Yeah, like, just love me, mate. I'm loving you already. So no, I think the people in Northern Ireland are incredible, mate. Like, I know I've had, like we joked about there at the start about me when it goes wrong. Yeah. But that is literally once. Like, I've been doing this a year. That's literally one time. And that's just saying the wrong thing to the wrong guy at the wrong time. With a bit of alcohol as well in the mix, which doesn't help. Like, I love the people over here. Like, I literally love Northern Ireland and the people in it so much, mate. Like, I genuinely think people over here are amazing. Like, they're so nice, so friendly. If you literally take 2 minutes of your time to actually get to know the person, like, I mean, 10 times out of 10 are actually a nice person. Yeah. That's what I believe. Like, I know people might think it's different, or if you hit a certain level of success or followers or whatever, it might change. For me, nah, it doesn't. Like, I think people over here are incredible. I've always believed that, and yeah, it's just the way I want to view it anyway. Yeah. And as I say, you do get the odd bad experience, but it's just literally, it's very rare. Yeah.
Because we talk about it a lot, like on here, and like I think we all have mixed opinions on it, to be honest with you. There's various things we saw, like even things that's happened to us, or like things that we see happening.
I don't think we've ever had anyone come up to us and not say something nice though. Like,
no, 100% not.
Like, I don't think we've really had a bad experience with anyone over here. So
no.
I would agree with what you said.
Yeah, no, I love the people over here, man. I think if your intentions are good, and I suppose it's whatever mind frame you're in as well, that day and whatever you're maybe going through can maybe change that. But no, I just genuinely believe like, people are amazing. I just try to keep that at the forefront of my mind. No matter where I go, it could be Northern Ireland, it could be London, it can be anywhere. Like, if you're going around thinking that people are out to get you, then you're going to get that. Like, then people are out to get you, because the minute they say something to you that's probably not even criticism, it's maybe even just maybe a wee word of advice or just an observation, then you're going to take it as, oh, they're all out to get me because I've got so many followers and I'm doing well, you're not, so that's the reason why you're hating on me. So I'm very quick not to point the finger and go, you did this. I'm like, oh, no, there's 3 fingers pointing back. Like, how could I have done better there? For example, in the Benedicts with them 2 girls, right? I said the wrong thing at the wrong time. You know, I'm not going to sit there and blame them. I'm going, oh, yous are just dicks. Like, I'm the TikToker. I'm the one trying to have fun here. Like, yous are boring. I'm here trying to have a bit of fun. I'm trying to get you guys clout. I'm trying to get you guys in a video. Whereas I looked back at me and I went, no, hold on a minute, Stefan. How could I have done better there? Right? You didn't read the room. You just didn't. Like, if you would have took the time to ask them who are they with, you would have figured it out and you wouldn't have done it. Yeah. So there you go. You didn't spend enough time. You didn't get to know the guys. You didn't ask who your friend circle was. Like, I know there's 3 or 4 excuses and 3 or 4 questions I need to ask myself first before I even dare point the finger and go, you done it because you're jealous. Yeah. Nah, not for me. Yeah.
And as well as that, I think people over here, like, the stuff that you see on like TikTok comments and stuff, it's actually like half the time it's like some people could be like, oh my god, like that was rash, but like half the time, like, I think we are like a country that just loves to slag each other.
We do.
Like, and it's in a form of endearment.
Yeah.
Me and him slag each other all the time. Like.
Yeah, it's just because you love each other.
Yeah.
And most of the time they're laughing with you. They're like, oh shit. Yeah. But most of the time they're laughing with you. Yeah. Like, if they are taking a wee bit of a slag, and if they actually are slagging you and like going at you, like most of the time they're just like, I just have so much sympathy for that. Like, I mean, they took 2 minutes out of their day to try and really bring me down. And anytime that happens to me, which is rare, I literally click on the profile. So if it isn't like user 2056 something, and there's nothing there, but most of the time there is something there, and I just compliment the shit out of whatever they done. Like, there's one guy that said something to me, I can't remember, he slagged off my TH. I can't say my THs, it comes across like an F, and he was really slagging, and he really wanted to hammer home that I couldn't say it, That's grand. And his latest video was of a car. I said, mate, I fucking love your new car. I just seen you posted that there. It's like a red 306 or whatever. And he was like, oh my God, bro, I bought that a couple of weeks ago. No one's complimented it. Thank you so much. And I was like, that's literally all it took.
Yeah,
like, that's mad. Do you know what I mean? So that's the approach I always take. And I just don't take myself that seriously, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, I don't expect anyone to even know who I am.
Yeah.
The minute I walk down the street or even on a night out. And even though I did say sometimes they do come up to me for the question, I literally never assume anyone knows me. Literally. Yeah. Because then it keeps you grounded, man. Keeps you humble. Like, you don't want to walk around thinking that you're something that you're not.
Yeah.
It's just not for me. Like.
Yeah. It's not a good way to be. Like.
No.
Definitely not.
And like, what sort of content do you like yourself? Like I know you touched on Josh Denzel, but like in terms of like actual content creators, like who do you look at? You're like, fuck, I'd love to get to that level, or I love their content type of thing.
I love Speed. I show Speed. I love his stuff.
He's funny.
Yeah, starts barking. Love Speed, man. He is class. I still love KSI. Been watching him since, like, as I said, high school. Still watch a lot of his stuff. I love the Full Sane podcast.
Yeah, it's really good.
Like I seen the Donald Trump one there last night.
Yeah.
So I like watching that. I like watching Diary of CEO, Stephen Bartlett.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess I consume content differently now because I'm maybe trying to like look at it and like, what can I learn from it now? Yeah. Like, what can I take from it and take on board for me, and how can I improve what I'm doing? So that's sort of the way I'm watching it. I don't really find myself watching content anymore just to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Really. The odd time, like I'm watching a lot recently of General G and HS TikTok.
Oh my God, man.
So I've been watching a lot of them and the big fallout that they had. He's away home because fucking HS is smashing Alexis.
Oh, it's mental. Did you see the video? Like, he's on the
like on touch. And
she's on him. Like.
I was like, oh fuck, and then HS is like, oh, he's not smashing her, so I'm gonna smash her. And that kind of stuff. That's funny. Like, I like consuming that, and that's really lighthearted, and it's just like for me just to enjoy and laugh at it. And the song's actually good. Have you listened to the song?
I was heard it today.
It's fucking banging,
it's not bad. Like.
It is actually quite good. You should look it up.
No idea.
I think it's called Trust.
Yeah.
Trust, because that's what all they say. TWRUST though.
Yeah.
But I like watching that. But most of the time, I'm trying to like learn from like especially the podcasts that I consume. Like I do actually listen to this one. I'm not bullshitting you just because I'm sitting across from you. I do actually listen to this one.
Cheers.
Diary of CEO, Full Send, and Impulsive. Literally the ones I listen to.
Yeah.
What do you make of the whole like YouTube boxing scene?
I'm all for it.
Yeah.
I think it's quite good. I think it's good for a lot of people. Think it's shitty for the sport because like you get people like Jake Paul breaking through, making mad money.
Mad.
You know, for an amateur fight, they're getting paid. The analogy I heard, which was bang on, was they're getting paid Champions League money for non-football league standard.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, that is literally bang on.
You can see like the boxing. Like the proper like professionals hate it as well.
They do.
Like the fraud bit like after he was raging like after the Jake Paul.
Because Jake Paul left at 150 mil or something.
Yeah.
And like
that's disgusting.
Them on a good day is like what, a couple million, maybe 20 million or something. And Jake Paul's just left at 10 times that in one night for an amateur fight with Tommy Fury. It wasn't even a full 12 round or nothing.
No, what was it like a 5?
Eight rounds,
8 rounds? Yeah.
8 rounds of maybe 2 minutes. Maybe it might have been even 2 minutes. Maybe it was 3.
We're missing out.
But no, I like it, and even less YouTuber fights like Luke Bennett and
Get it.
Yeah, get it. I was actually texting him today. To be fair, he's over in Mallorca at the minute, and I'm going to Mallorca here on Tuesday. And I was like, "Oh mate, are you still over?" And he's like, "No, I'm back home Monday night." I was like,
"What do you think of the whole him and Simple Simon like lawsuit thing?"
That's kind of my Simple Suman.
Simple Suman.
I kind of do like following that as well.
Yeah.
It's quite entertaining.
It's hard not to follow it though. It just seems to come up everywhere. Yeah.
So no, I quite like it too. I haven't seen much of Ed recently.
Ed, he's fighting now.
He's fighting this weekend.
Blueface or something you call him.
Yeah.
See, Kaz Milligan's fighting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is actually.
Yeah.
Yes. So
that's what I'm saying. We need to get something organised over here.
We do.
Tully Glass.
I remember making a video about it and I was like, should I call out someone for a crack? Just to start something. I was like, I'm not that kind of guy.
Call out Shay.
Shay's not here. Shay, I took your spot.
Call out Shay.
Nice to meet you. Just join forces. Here's a crack.
Who would be like the biggest?
Nice to meet you. To see you here.
Who would be the biggest like influencer fight you could make over here? It'd have to be like Nico and someone.
That's a good show. Who would you match up over here?
Nico.
You'd have to get Geedy on. You'd have to get Geedy and Jed would be a controversial one.
That would be funny.
You could create beef and all around it, like
Yeah.
the fucking move
Yeah.
out from
But then
each
you
other.
know,
Geedy leaves like.
But most
the,
of them things I think scripted, like even the General
Yeah.
G and HS
Oh,
TikTok. I'm sort of thinking to myself, has that been
I
scripted
was
so that their
thinking
music video
Yeah.
pops off because it's just released the same day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But HS is like, nah, it's not. Like he
Jed's-
does seem fuming.
And he's like,
But-
I thought he was away to the shop and he's riding your girl on the sofa. You're like,
You're like, how?
how did you not know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, nah. I think even a football match over here would be great.
Yeah, that's not a bad shout, actually.
That'd be sick, like.
Because I was thinking about that because I do the Ballways stuff with Sam and
Mm.
we do like wee football show and do wee like football content out in the pitch, and like Ballymaclash lets us use their facilities. I'm like, they would probably let us, if we want it, they could probably let us use that pitch for a full scale, you know,
Yeah.
11v11.
Yeah.
And if you like sold tickets and got a few ones, whatever,
Charity, like.
yeah, charity money,
Yeah.
and if it attracted a crowd, like it could be good.
Yeah, it's not a bad
And
shout,
then
actually.
we aim for Windsor. I just
Shade
give
love
Northern
that.
Ireland a shout and say, hey, can we use Windsor for the next one? But that would be sick.
Shay would love that. I remember that time. I remember I'd done the five-a-side football. I done like a five-a-side. I got all my mates for a five-a-side football like match in Brashy and Mugga, and
Yes.
Shay walked in with 2 AirPods in, like started walking around, started pacing the pitch, and my mate Dylan was like, "Dude, are you all right?" And he's like, I'm just listening to Eminem, and he
Oh,
actually
he's
took it.
getting
I
ready.
was like, "Oh my
He's
god!"
getting hype for
Him with
this.
a wash bag and all.
Yeah,
the
came with a-
fucking
yeah.
Louis
Fair.
Vuitton wash bag.
I'm quite competitive. I play football every Monday night.
Yeah.
Just as like an 8-a-side on a Hockle.
Nice.
With a few ones I used to go to church with and all.
Yeah.
And it's competitive as hell, man.
Yeah.
It's competitive.
I
And
play-
they're Christians.
Yeah,
It's
I
fair.
play in Ballymena like 2 nights a week, a Tuesday night, a Monday night, and a Thursday night, and like, I'm not gonna
That's
lie,
class.
like, there's sometimes, like I've said to you, there's sometimes like, I play with like a mix of like young, like and older fellas. Like, there's a couple of times like there's been
Scraps
some
and all
rows.
for it.
Like,
Oh, why?
yeah,
We had maybe a few weeks ago, we had a wee scrap break out in ours.
oh
Like-
no,
Oh no.
Yeah, like, I say scrap, like they probably would have if we weren't all mates and we were like, I hear mate, I said, why is that fuck up?
yeah,
But yeah, like proper. Sometimes some of the tackles are just rash. Like one
Yeah.
of the guy in particular is rash as fuck. And anytime he's a big like lad, and like anytime he goes in for a slide tackle, like a slide tackle on flipping 3G pitch, like. But even he's getting at knee height. Like I mean, he's
Jesus.
that's like cheese grater. Like,
Aye.
what the heck?
I'm actually waiting for him because he'll be like, oh, but like the all night was pretty rough and all, and this bait on this and this bait, and he's getting married in like a couple of months, and I'm
I mean,
like,
you're gonna get done.
he's gonna text me someday and be like, lad, I just broke my leg at
Congratulations.
football.
Thank you. Like my fiance always says, like, I swear, she's like, you're not playing football 2 months before the wedding. Like, she's like
She's not having it, mate.
like you will. Like, I remember coming home, me and you and a couple
She
of
has
ones.
spoken.
Me and you and a couple of ones we know, like me and Aaron and a couple of ones we know, went out mountain biking one time, and like a couple of weeks ago, and I came off the mountain bike, some clatter, and like popped my shoulder. Like, came back, like, and she was like, let's say the second time I've popped a shoulder, and she's like, I don't know,
She's
but like to be fair, like I'm like, she says that, I'm like, I'll be playing football, but like at the same time, you kind of know.
Don't
that
know why
will-
you say that.
2 weeks. I know fine rightly, like I'll sneak off 2 weeks before the wedding and be like, yeah, let's get a 5-a-side game going, and I'll break my flipping
Right.
ankle or something.
Yeah, yeah.
I know,
Oh,
like
actually,
I know
yeah,
it will
waiting
happen to
for
me,
it.
like.
And then the wedding's off, and then she's fuming, and then you're single.
Me coming up the aisle, like set of crutches, like Tommy carrying me up the
It
aisle.
can happen. I always think to
Yeah.
myself, okay, it's only a 5-a-side or it's only an 8-a-side. Like, what is the worst that could happen? But it literally can happen if you just don't
Yeah.
stretch. Say you just don't even stretch and you're just literally tight that day,
Yeah.
and it's the wrong tackle, the wrong time, and boom,
Yeah,
Achilles or whatever wrecked.
yeah.
Out for 5. And like everyone there's working 9 to 5 jobs.
Yeah.
Like it's not like as if we can afford
Yeah,
to even take time off.
I'm,
Like,
six,
do you know what I mean?
I'm out for 6 months.
I'm out for 6 months. Sweet.
Yeah.
We're still getting paid. No, you're not. Like you're lying in
Yeah.
a hospital bed, fucked, or your room.
claiming off
So,
the life insurance and
Yeah,
all.
yeah, it's definitely, it is risky. It actually has went through my head. I'm like, I had thought about it whenever I seen that rash tackle a few weeks ago. I was
Yeah.
like, imagine that actually happened to me, and I was injured. Like, what would I actually do? I
Yeah.
don't want to say no.
Yeah.
Don't know what I would do. Like,
I couldn't not play football 2 nights a week. I
Nah.
love it.
I couldn't.
It's the only thing that's kept my weight off in the past while. Like, I haven't done anything. I'm being the gym.
Just it's cardio,
Yeah.
but it doesn't feel like it
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you're playing football.
Yeah.
But
That's
yeah,
it.
no,
That's
I
good.
wish I was playing it more than once. That's why
Yeah.
I'm playing it once a week. Sort of was thinking to myself, should I get back in a team again? But don't know. That's whenever you can get injured because you're playing
Yeah.
Sunday morning league.
Yeah. Something.
Oh, I mean, that's-
That'd be rough, like.
Yeah.
Them boys, yeah.
No, I would say if ever I saw any of the ones slide tackling on a 3G pitch, that's the time where I walk off. I'd be like, no, this I don't want the smoke.
That can be bad.
This guy is not prepared to put his life on the line
Yeah. No, it can be dodgy.
for
like.
for Ballymena Blazers B team.
Jesus, the commitment. Though.
No, it's crazy.
We did play a football competition a while ago with your gym, and like one of the boys turned up hammered.
Fuck.
Jesus.
I just
Remember, like he was on something. Like
yeah, he's cool. I go to the gym, Anytime Fitness, and like they were just like, "Oh, would you want to do this?" And we were like, "Yeah, no, wow." And we went, and we were sort of thinking it was a laugh. Like I wouldn't be that fit at the minute. Like, half of us weren't fit then.
no.
Yeah.
And then you should, but he's like proper going in, like they want to win it. Like
Yeah.
and we thought it was just a laugh. Like, and
But
it
like
was
the
not a laugh.
first team we played was like a baptism by fire. Like one of the guys turned up, they'd been out the night before, and he was still sauced, like.
Aye.
And he turns around and like I had the ball, and he turned around and went, "Yeah, pass." This is before the and I went,
sake.
"What do you mean?" He was like, "Oh, just give me a wee touch. I just want touching that, and then I'll pass it back." And I was like, "Is he flipping tweaking? What the flip's this?" And I was like, "I'm staying away from him." Like,
It's that whole I want to touch that air does my
yeah,
head.
give us a wee touch.
Give
1,
us a
2,
touch.
1, 2, 1,
Aye.
2.
Give us a touch, and he literally touches it and doesn't give it back. And he keeps the ball. I'm like, bro, it was a touch.
That ball
Not
was
a full on.
ball was £8 for
hog,
Sports
like.
Direct. Like,
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but
I suppose we should touch on Arsenal as we're talking about
Aye,
football.
we should. Oof, big
Just
title run in, mate.
drew with Southampton.
Broke my
There
heart
last
last night.
night,
Watched an amazing match. As I was saying, it was like a classic Premier League. You know, like back in the day, like 2008, the
Yeah.
Premier League era. Just a classic match, mate. Just like 2-0 down at Ramsdale, fluffing his lines, done exactly what De Gea had done
Yeah, I was actually
in the
thinking
Europa
that.
League, but worse. At least De Gea's pass got to Maguire.
Yeah.
Maguire, like, you know
What
me.
was he thinking?
I don't
Like?
know what's worse, but I don't know what Ramsdale was thinking. Like there was Holden and Zinchenko literally wide free. Zinchenko, Holden and Gabriel, and then Zinchenko was in the middle with two players on him, and he thought, right, sure, we'll ding it to Zinchenko between the two players instead of just giving it out to them boys that are free. But 2-0 down, and then it's got to go as it right. It's 2-1 at 20 minutes. Like, we'll win this game, no bar. And even Gary Neville on the commentary, he was like, "Oh well, Arsenal win this, no sweat." And I was like, "Yeah, definitely." And then it got the 3-1 after half time, and I was like, "No way! Like, this is literally watching a title slip away live.
Yeah.
Like, this is literally what it looks like." And then the last 2 minutes of the game, 2 goals with 8 minutes added on. I was like, fucking hell, we are going to win this. Like, we're going to win the league, and like the hype's back on. And then we didn't score. It finished 3-3. And a lot of the fans, it was funny watching it, like a lot of the fans started leaving the stadium and all. Yeah. And of course it had to be Theo Walcott that scored against us. Typical Theo Walcott goal too.
Yeah.
Like that cut inside, like that movement, and like how many times have we seen him do that and we don't know he does it?
I've seen Arsenal fan TV. One of the
I
days.
watched
Was it
Arsenal
Troops going
Troops
mad. He's
TV.
like-
I love him. Yeah.
He's like, Walcott blood.
Yeah. No, I love Troops.
Yeah.
But yeah, Arsenal fan TV is amazing. I love it. That's sort of what helped me as well.
Yeah.
Do what I do. Because I'm like, if them blood clots can do it, like, I can do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I guess that's what I'm doing now for Northern Ireland, which is class.
Yeah.
So, like, me and my girlfriend watched the Northern Ireland video I done at the last game there against Finland, and like there was it's a full 10-minute video on YouTube, and it's a Gawa TV or something. Yeah. And I was like, this is mad. I like looked at her, she was like, this is mental, isn't it? I was like, fucking hell. She's seen me watch Arsenal fan TV for ages, and like knew I had loved it and like wanted to basically do that, and like to watch me do it, but for like my national team, like my country, I said, this is mad.
Yeah.
So, but no, big up the Arsenal fan TV, big up Robbie, big up Troops.
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you think that's the title going?
Get us the title, but title. We've got Man City on Wednesday night, and I will be in Spain at the time watching it, and I'm probably just going to get blitzed that night. To be fair, just drunk, because if we lose it or draw it, I think we lose the title. I think you have to win it.
It's City sounds like
City's
City
hands-
win their next. If City win,
City win
their
every game.
Yeah, they win. Like,
which is obviously beating us. But if we win every game, which includes beating City, then we win it.
these.
Yeah, if we win every game plus the game against City, we win the league.
What?
That's the way it works out.
I thought City had 2 games on you, though.
They do, but I think the way it works, if we win, whatever way it was said last night, basically the two teams have it in both of their hands, but like we have a hand each on it, because if we win every game, we win it. If they win every game, they win it. But we still have to go away to Newcastle and still play Chelsea at home, Brighton as well.
Brighton, yeah, we're playing Brighton on Sunday. Or
FA
tomorrow.
Cup.
Yeah.
Aye. Good luck.
Not looking forward to it.
The Man United treble was thrown out the window there the other night. It was funny.
That was heartbreaking watching that one.
Mm.
Sevilla's knocked you out a few times.
So
mate.
we're so bad against Spanish teams, like, and then like Maguire and Lindelof, like Maguire's just
And you conceded 2 OGs in your home tie, which was shocking. 2-0
that
up.
game. The first half, I was like, we're balling.
Oh,
here.
yes,
we're
they're
balling, and then Maguire comes on, and I literally texted into the group chat to the boys. I was like, this is gonna be 2-2, 2-2. I was like,
I remember seeing United's post to the team they were taking away, and I remember screenshotting. I was going to send it in because I'm in a group chat with them all. Like whenever we went to Manchester, I was like, "Well, then if they're smart, they'll leave them out there." And then literally like that night, the group chat was banging out and watching it, and I was just like, I was like, "Oh no, it's not good."
Do you watch football? Are you in?
I've got more into
it.
Like I've got more into it since kind of got for like I've had no choice like getting friendly with you, like because it was kind of like, but I'm a Liverpool fan.
Oh, you're Liverpool.
Yeah.
Oh.
So always have been.
Well, you've had a good few
I wouldn't
years.
change it, like so.
Yeah.
But like I used to watch it for like all the time, like around like Fernando Torres era, like
yeah,
and,
yeah.
like because I remember my neighbor lived next door to me. He had a big TV, so I used to always go around to him like pure watch it and all, and then just kind of like get into rugby, and then kind of like fell off. I always loved playing football. I've always loved playing football. But then kind of getting friendly with you, like it's like, oh, head into the pub here and watch this United game. And now I'm like, it's one thing I always say is like whether it be rugby or like anything that I've kind of like get into, like I would get into like a lot, like even now, like me and you used to play a lot of golf, and like me and him have started playing a lot more golf, and like Orange joined us as well. And like it's like one of them things where like, see, whenever people are like actually genuinely like passionate about something, it's hard not to like get into it.
Yeah. If they're passionate around you, like it's hard not to match that energy.
Like I always like, I remember Lucinda came home like a couple of like months ago, and I was sitting watching the football, and she was like, "You watching the football?" And I said, "Yeah." She was like, "I've never seen you watch a football match before in your life." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, fair."
you're a fraud.
Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, we need to get a wee five-a-side.
We'll try and
nice.
work a TikTok. I think a TikTok football game would be good.
Yeah.
It would be feisty though. I think it could be feisty.
Could you get 11?
Could you get 11?
Yeah.
I can't
think
even.
5v5.
You'd be lucky to get 11. But who would the other 11 be?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Generally can't think.
Surely you get.
I can't even think of. Like,
I can't even think of 11.
I can't even think of like. There's not that many.
Unless,
people
well,
there, like.
you include girls.
Yeah.
Include girls into it, you would get
Yeah.
11, but then
But you probably would just only get 11.
you
Yeah.
would only get the 11.
Be good crack, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be it. We market and masterminds, get a football
Then
match going.
boxing.
Bad slide tackle, then like, you know what I mean? And then it's like, oh, how are we going
Boys have thought it out.
Stage it all and all.
we're gonna settle this behind the ropes, like
Go
Yeah,
slide tackle him now.
That's
slide
how you get the
tackle.
boxing
Yeah.
match after it.
Yeah. flipping. It's aligning. That's it.
I'll need to get a wee like misfits.
Get you
misfits
hosting
off.
it. Get you hosting it.
I'll present it.
Yeah.
Me and Bernadette will present it, and you
Yeah.
just can do all the damage. I'm
Yeah.
done with box. I had a boxing match.
Did you?
Yeah. I had a
When was
boxing match.
Did you win?
No.
Oh. Where'd you do it?
No. 2021 December in Crown Plaza Hotel.
Nice.
Fuck.
And it was actually originally meant to be March 2020, and then fucking COVID hit.
Yeah.
And it was meant to be December 2020, and COVID was still about at that time. And then December 2021. So I had a good.
Why a boxing match? How did this come?
Yeah, a bit crazy, mate. I just believe every year I want to try something crazy. Like every year I want to do something that I don't believe Stefan's actually capable of doing. So the year before I done that, I done a skydive because I'm scared of heights and didn't believe I could jump out of a plane, but I did it. So I thought, right, if I can jump out of a plane, I can do anything I want. So I thought, right, I'm not a kind of fighting kind of guy, and I don't believe I'm fit enough to even be in a ring. But if I train hard enough, I believe I can go in and do it. So that's why I put myself forward for that. And I had a good time to train for it. Obviously, I had about a year extra to train, which didn't help me. And I didn't enjoy it, to be fair.
Yeah.
Like, I actually didn't enjoy the training at all.
Was it hard?
It was hard, like. And it's not even enjoyable, man. See, like, waking up knowing you're going to get your head beaten and sparring. Yeah. It's like, why do you even want to do this?
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
I don't think I do it.
It's horrible. And I remember going to bed every Friday night anxious about waking up Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Like, just, I have to wake up.
Yeah.
I have to go spar. And it was just the worst feeling for 2 hours straight. Like, headgear on, the wee, like, stomach gear on, and this, right,
Just getting battered.
5 rounds with this guy, and then 5 rounds with that guy, and then 5 rounds with that guy, and you're getting 1 minute in between each one of them. Go. And it's like, Jesus, like, this is mental. But yeah, I got beat. To be fair, the guy, I made a video about it on my YouTube channel, but I think the guy had like previous experience in MMA. I think he had like a couple of fights in MMA already.
Fuck.
And, yeah, and then this was his debut boxing match. So technically, I guess the way they worded it was a fair fight. I take it as a compliment that out of all the people in the gym, they picked me to go against him because of they thought I was maybe the only one capable of half doing something, which was great, but I didn't do anything. Like, I mean, my first round was decent, and then the second and third was brutal, mate.
Fair play though. At least
brutal.
you
But I stepped in, didn't get knocked out.
Yeah.
You know, held my ground well enough. Like, I wasn't going to get pushed over or nothing.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was always going to win. But it was the most nervous thing I've ever done. Yeah. Definitely. But and then after that, I was like, right, if I can get into a ring in front of hundreds of people that I don't know, I genuinely believed I can do anything I want now. Yeah. And then that's whenever literally I started doing what I do now. Yeah. So it brought me around to all that.
So you've the experience, hey? Get this
I
fight. Get this fight.
I don't want to smoke.
Mate, I hate it. I honestly
Main card, Stefan.
I wouldn't do it, honestly. Even if you paid me well, man, I don't know if I would do it.
Yeah. I think we'll take the football.
You could do Here's a Crack, flipping fight. Just get used free boys.
No, I think there would be a lot of like a lot of unsaid, like I would imagine like I get in a ring with Tommy and he just bar me like this is for this time and this is for this time.
Do you boys, question for you actually, do you do your own, like, you don't have a personal like path you are going down with the content side of things? Like, I know you all do the podcast, but you aren't pursuing a...
So, I don't know, it's something I thought of. Like sometimes I'm like, oh, I'd love to do that, and then sometimes I'm like,
you did the football
thing. I created like a football TikTok. Well, I've done like a football podcast and done a few episodes, but like it was just hard to organise because there's no like it's hard when we're doing this, and then I had one of my mates starting to do it, and like he was working full time, and then it wasn't really going to be consistent. Yeah. And I was like, if this isn't going to be consistent, like there's no point. And then I made like a TikTok for football once, and like posted a few videos on it, but then just like didn't keep doing it. Man. It was just like, it's just committing to it. It's like sometimes I'm like, oh, I'd love to do this, and there's so many other things. It's hard to like I don't really know what the fuck I want to do.
I think with us, like we went down like a route there recently where we stopped doing the guest podcast and started doing more solo podcasts.
Seen that?
And then it was kind of like,
you've done an episode on like you were back, you took a long break for a while.
We took a mad break. Like we're like, I remember it like clear as day. Like I remember ringing Thomas and just being like, I have no passion for this anymore now. What's the point? And then he just went, yeah, same. And then I think when we actually got to the root of the problem was where I don't think we were like, we weren't getting anything from it ourselves. Like we sat and interviewed like a guy this morning. We sat and talked to you. We actually are getting something out of this. And I think then we turned around and we were like, but it was a conflicting thing because we really loved doing solo episodes. Like like that's where a lot of people would miss that if we didn't do it. Like a lot of people would say, oh lads, missed the crack of the solo like love the guest podcast but miss the crack of the solo episodes. And to be fair, like if it's us three in a room, the crack is flying. Like it normally, like we're so comfortable around each other, but then as well as that, it's like kind of find that fine balance. So now that's why we're doing guest solo and it's like, but then obviously like 3 full-time jobs, like life starts.
Yeah, you're getting married obviously as well.
Yeah, you're engaged now. Like you're getting married in a year. Like flipping, it's just mad. Like it's crazy. But I think I'd be less interested in it than like you're very, Thomas. You'd be very like driven to like do stuff. Whereas like for me, I don't know. I love doing this, but at the same time, like I even remember the solo podcast and people were going like, oh, like people were sort of like, I was like, I don't know if like this is what I want. You know what I mean? It was weird.
It's hard, man. It was tough.
But I used to do it back in the day. I done like photography and all. Started like YouTube channel. Yeah, flipping 800 subscribers.
Yes, sir.
Let's go. But like I remember, like I done that for a while, and then like
800.
Yeah, it grew all right. Like but like I just remember, like I was trying to get into photography, and there was all these other people into photography, and like none of them were really like giving advice or whatever. It was like this kind of like taboo, like sort of I love this is my thing. And I was like, you know what, no, I'm gonna try this myself and start doing it. But like I think it was just like not having mates around you. And then whenever we were discussing obviously like 2.5 odd years ago doing the podcast, I think I was always interested in creating content, like the creative side of it. You were always interested in it, and then it was kind of like, why don't we just do it? And Shay get involved, and Shay's also like creative. Like we're all kind of
because you just went down a different path for a little bit. Do we have time to talk about this?
Yeah, we're fine.
and I do want to bring his on the mind. So
Sweet.
stay tuned and nice to meet you because I want to interview these guys. 'Cause these guys
dear.
I don't think you've been interviewed before.
No,
We were actually talking about that, and that's why like we
we want to start doing more, but
Because I
it's
want
like-
to I want to bring you on mine. I want to actually like do my shit. I want to like
Yeah.
give you the mad stuff.
oh no.
But you went down a different route. I remember watching that video of like, oh, what's happened to What's the Crack podcast, whatever way it was titled, and that's whenever you had mentioned the long break
Yeah.
that you've took for like a month or two. And then I watched the podcast. I actually watched the one with Paul,
yeah,
which I thought was great.
Yeah.
But it was I felt it was a different vibe in a really good way because Paul had mentioned about documenting, which was great. Like the whole, it's very Gary V like as well, which was great. Like documenting over creating,
Yeah.
where it's just, you see Netflix do it. That's what Paul talked about in one of his videos as well, like how the Formula One, was it Drive to Survive?
Yeah.
It's like #1 in the world at the minute, and all it is just video and behind the scenes of
Yeah.
Formula One. Like that shit that shit's been happening for years.
Yeah.
yeah.
Just there's been no camera on it, and there's been no slick edit on it,
yeah.
but it's the same shit. And because you had turned the camera on at one point, and like it was a bit more of like a handheld one or something. It felt like,
Yeah.
and like camera turning, you were talking about like what was on the wall there, and it felt like you were going down a different route, which I thought was great.
That was like that was the first podcast we got Aaron involved with, like, because obviously, like, I think the thing is, like, whenever it used to be, we set 2 cameras up, one over there, one here, and I controlled one and he controlled the other. Like, you almost noticed, like, after half an hour when the cameras were starting to run out, like, you were like looking over, and like you'll even see in some of the solo podcasts I'll get up to like reset the camera. So like I almost felt like from a production point of view,
You weren't enjoying it.
and I wasn't involved because I was always like chatting, but then I was always like looking at my watch and being like,
Yes.
20 minutes left on that camera, I need to get up. And whereas like to have, like, especially in a guest podcast, to have Aaron here is like, I can just switch off.
That
Yeah,
was-
you
I'm
can just
involved
enjoy
in
the
it.
chat.
That was like the first episode we brought Aaron on,
Yeah.
so it's
Yeah.
made such a difference to the quality.
Big up,
like.
Aaron.
So
Yupa.
Yes, sir.
It's just-
Doing a good job.
it's just
Shout
like
out.
there's so many things. There's so many things we'd love to do, but it's just like finding the time. Like
Yeah.
we have all these ideas, and I think when we first started out, we were trying all these different things and
Yeah.
vlogs and stuff. And then maybe you get a bit caught up in views, and you're like, oh, nobody.
You do.
really
We're
watching
very-
this. Like, you know. So it's like it's hard to know.
We're
Like
very
even with
hard
a
on
football
ourselves.
podcast, like I started that, and like I always said, I'd love to do it, but it's like trying to, you know, find the time and do like what do you do, and like you're editing this, and then do you know
It's very strange. The dynamic I notice in our friend group, and like us three would be quite like we would be close knit, like, and the dynamic I notice is like, see if he's doing something on his own or I am doing something on my own, like I would like he'd be very supportive to me. We'd be both very supportive to Shay if he was doing something, and like if you were doing something, that me and Shay would be like, we're like the best hype men for each other. But like when it comes to this, it's almost like we need to like sometimes, like, and we've become very aware of it now because we've got older and obviously priorities and stuff has changed. But there's been a few times where we've had to turn around and look at each other and go, this is coming between our friendship and it ain't worth, this isn't worth it. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I think we would always say, like, if this all flipping crashed and burned in the morning, like, as long as we were all mates, that's the main thing. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas obviously when you're a one-man band, you decide how it looks, you decide when you post. And like a lot, like, don't get me wrong, like, it's like I think we get on well 90% of the time, but at the same time there's been like times where, like, I would say me and you are both very like driven, like me and him are both very like very focused on what, so like if I come up with something and he disagrees, it's almost like that kind of getting over that friction kind of thing where you're like, right, wanker, okay, dick, and then it's like you come back and you're like it's all right.
Let's compromise. Let's go with my idea.
I don't know.
No, it was good. It was a good change. I felt it was a really good change of direction. Like, it just felt different. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was like the handheld vibe, Aaron coming along. Maybe even all that, which I didn't know about. You're sitting there checking the time. What should I do? And you're worried about quality, which maybe an issue.
Quality doesn't like, quality helps.
Yeah,
but like,
I agree.
You could have the best camera in the world and you could be the shittest host.
Aye.
Yeah.
You could be like,
Because that's one thing. Whenever I started my first few, even some of my podcasts to this day is this iPhone, I guess.
Yeah. Aye.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And it's me with a Rode mic just fucking attached in there.
Yeah.
That was
So
it.
we
You know what I
crowd
mean?
around your kitchen table.
Yeah, I remember that back in the day too.
Oh my god, that was a nightmare. Like,
No,
that's
'cause
where you came from. Like,
people do get hung up on the
Cool.
quality, and I'm like, nah, just put it out. And like sometimes we share a mic. Sometimes it depends because we only use the 2 Rode mics I have.
Yeah.
And I was like thinking at the start, oh, this is going to be shit. Like you look at Here's a Crack. Everyone's got a mic.
Yeah.
Everyone can be heard. I'm sharing 2 between 3-4 people.
Yeah.
If the other person wants to chip in and comment, they might just do it without the mic, and then you hear them like not so clear. I'm like, all that stuff. I just whenever I listen to the Gary Vee thing, I just got I didn't worry about it anymore.
That's what I was about
forget about
it. Like it's like you can just do nothing.
Just put it out there.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like,
You could just do nothing.
I fully believe though in that sort of quote, like comparisons to Thief of Joy. Like I definitely believe in that, where it's like, like, and that's why like we've been saying recently, and that's why like because it's so funny because. See, when you're so busy doing your own thing, like we almost feel sometimes like when we chat about it, we're like, do people know, like, do people just not like us? Like, do people think we're like, do not want to do anything with us? Like sometimes, because like you see other people collaborating and you're like, but then we're so zoned in on what we're doing, and then you put that comment on our relationship coach one, and I messaged him, I was like, you message like, or you messaged me, you were like, you messaged that guy, and I was like, yeah, dead on. It's like, but like we'd seen you and we're aware of you, but like it didn't even once turn around, and it's not from like oh he's doing his thing, because we would never be like that. Like if people are hosting, like
I can tell the meeting
like
not like that.
If people are like doing their own podcast, like people will actually say to us, oh, what do you think about that? And we're like, fair, like thank God, like we're not the only people doing
Please
this.
do
Like, like, do you know what I mean? Whereas so it's cool. Like, but hopefully
no, I
don't go too deep on us. Like,
no, because I've seen like I've listened to a few. And I remember another Gary Vee quote. People are thinking right now I'm obsessed with this man, but it does spit some good bars, so I have to repeat. Whenever Kobe Bryant had passed away, Gary knew Kobe was a fan of him just through similar friends in the circle, and he like someone told Gary, oh, like Kobe's a big fan of your work, he loves you, like you should meet up with him sometime. And then Gary's like, yeah, of course, love Kobe, whatever. But Gary didn't want to be that guy to reach out. Like, not that he felt he was too cool to reach out, but you know when it's just, it feels, as you were sort of speaking on there, we know what you're doing. Like, I know what he's doing, I know what she's doing, but I just don't want to say anything. It might be awkward. You don't know how it's going to be received, whatever you may think in your head. And that's what Gary had. He's like, no, look, I can always reach out to Kobe. Like, I'll maybe reach out to him another time, or I'll wait on him reaching out to me. And then obviously a disaster happens. Kobe passes away in a helicopter crash, and Gary never got the chance to meet him. Yeah. And it was one of the podcasts he'd on straight after that, basically, and he said that was his biggest regret of his life. He goes, I can't believe I thought I was too cool, or I would always have the chance to do that, and I didn't. And it's something that really stuck with me, and that's why whenever I have listened, because I had listened to the Paul one, which I think I commented under, and I listened to the relationship one with Lisa, which was amazing, by the way. And I was like, I just need to tell these boys they've done a good job. Like, I don't want to be that guy who's, I'm too cool to let you guys know that I actually listen to what you have done. And I'm not going to be that guy that's too cool to actually compliment you. Like, because people think that's weird. So I think I don't think it's weird.
To be fair, we're not the best on social media sometimes. Like I'll hold my hand up and say like, I try to do most of like the Instagram stuff and like messaging people and like comments and stuff. Like you do most of the TikTok stuff, but like see when you're like working, it's like oh my, like he'll say to me, "Did you reply to your man?" I'm like, no, like sorry, but it's just like
I see the notification and I'm like,
I wasn't sure who I was talking to in that chat. It was like, I don't know.
Like
might be all of them.
That's actually one of the things that me and him are right about sometimes, because a message will come in and I'll see it and I'll go, me, and I'll be like, right, I'll reply to that later. And like with good, like I fully believe like no one's gonna fall out with you.
I can't, but I can't.
He's like, that message has been left for a minute. Reply to him.
I don't get that. Like, oh, I've seen a notification, I'll leave it for later. I'm like, it takes you like 5 seconds to reply. Like.
Sometimes I can be, mate. I can be bad at like text. Like my own personal life, texting wise can be shocking. Really, really shocking. I really need to like. I'm nearly the other way where I'm like so obsessed and like maybe worried about just doing what I'm doing and really trying to keep on top of it and like show value to others and stuff, where I just like pile off everybody I actually love. I'm like, I'll reply to all you ones later. I'm fucking doing content. I need to reply to this random user 205 and then I'll reply to your message.
Compliment is Bora.
So I think sometimes I go the other way too much, which isn't good as well.
But you need that like sometimes I think you need, like with us, like having them 3 different types of personalities, because I'm so highly strung, Shay's so chill, and you're so like I would say thick and ignorant is how I describe you, or like, do you know what I mean? There's 3 different types, and it just keeps that.
I like that dynamic.
The balance is
yeah.
like perfect, but when the scales tip, that's whatever. Everything kind of like, it's like right.
It's good on like when a guest comes
again.
on as well, because you free are thinking about different things at the same time that this guest is speaking. So the way Shay's digesting it, you're digesting it. You're going to come up with like 3 different answers, 3 different questions every time.
Yeah.
So it's I could imagine it working really well, and it's just the guest probably feels more easy. Some guests might feel intimidated by that as well, actually, and go the other way. We're like, there's 3 guys looking at me here, what the fuck.
But we'll look forward to coming on yours.
Yes, we'll get that arranged soon, by the way. Get that arranged for next month.
I'll book the therapist for the emotional trauma.
I've got diary of a CEO conversation cards as well to you. So
what's the meaning of life for us? Oh no! But here, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for coming on. And yes, if you want to follow Nice to Meet You podcast, we'll link all the stuff in the link in the description and stuff. But yes, cheers.
Cheers, boys. Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye.